Today we are doing lesson 9, divide regions into equal parts. This is in the step up to grade 3 on page 953. Let's look at the solve and share.
Show two different ways to divide a 2 times 6 region into 6 equal parts. Color the 6 parts of each region a different color. How do you know the parts are equal?
Okay, so let's look. Are the two regions the same size? So look at them. Are they the same size? Yes, they are both 2 by 6. How many unit squares are in each region? 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So how can one of the regions be divided into 6 equal parts? Think about that, and then I want you to do it, and I want you to color the 6 parts of each region a different color. You can pause the video while you do that, and then we'll reconvene and share our results. Are you ready to show me your results? And I'll show you what I have. We're going to look at Sam's solution. So this is what Sam did. Sam, and let's see, I think I can make this a little bit bigger so we can look at it. So Sam took his regions and he colored 2 squares blue this way, 2 red, green, brown, purple, and pink. Then he took the other region and he colored 2 squares blue going this way, yellow, gray, tan, purple, and green. And he said, I know the parts are equal because each part has 2 unit squares. Now, what we can see here is that a region can be divided into equal parts because these were divided into equal parts. Now, each equal part of the whole is known as a fraction. And we're going to learn more about this. So let's get ready and let's look at our visual learning video.
How can you name the equal parts of a whole? Think about this question during the lesson. Divide a whole into fourths. What fraction can you write to represent 1/4 of a whole?
Let's take a look.
A fraction is an equal part of a whole. How many unit squares are there in this whole?
Okay, so how many unit squares are there? So let's count them. 3, 6, 9, 12. There are 12 unit squares.
There are 12 unit squares in this whole. What does the problem ask you to divide this whole into?
It asked us to divide it into fourths.
The problem asks you to divide this whole into fourths. Each part is made up of 3 unit squares. All parts have equal area. Could there be more unit squares in one part?
Could there be more unit squares in one part? No, there can't be.
No, there are 12 unit squares in the whole. And because we are dividing the whole into fourths, there can be only 3 unit squares in each part. Each part is 1/4 of the area of the whole shape. This fraction can be written as 1/4. 1/4 is a unit fraction. A unit fraction represents one of the equal parts. The number above the bar in a fraction is called the numerator. The numerator shows the number of equal parts represented by that fraction. The number below the bar in a fraction is called the denominator. The denominator shows the total number of equal parts in that whole.
Okay, so let's practice. We're going to learn a little bit. We're going to practice with the numerator and denominator. So here is the numerator. The 1 and the 1/4 is the numerator. So let's learn more about the numerator. The numerator is one of the 4 equal parts. So this represents the numerator. It's one of the 4 equal parts. This would be one of the 4 equal parts as well, but that's the numerator. The 4 is the denominator. The denominator is one of the 4 equal parts in the whole. So this is one of the equal parts. This is the other equal part, the other equal part, and the other. These are the 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 equal parts make up the denominator.
How can you remember that the denominator is the number below the fraction bar? The words denominator and down both start with the letter D. You can think of the denominator as being down from the numerator. Now you know how you can name the equal parts of a whole.
Okay, there we go. That's how we name the equal parts of a denominator. Very good. Oh, we already did that. Now, so let's do the guided practice. I want you to look on page 954. It says explain how you know the 2 parts are equal. So look at the top of page 954. It says divide a whole into halves. What fraction can you write to represent 1/2 of a whole? So look at B. Look where it says B. You have 1/2 and 1/2. Each part is made up of 6 unit squares. Both parts have equal areas. So how do you know the 2 parts are equal? What do you know about those 2 parts? What do you think? How do we know they're equal? How many square units are in each of those parts? Do you know? Well, each of those parts has how many units? Each half is made up of what? 6 units, so we know that they are equal. So that's what we're going to type there. We're going to say each half is made up of 6 units. That's how we know they're equal, because they have the same number of units. Now let's look here. It says in 2 and 3, tell if each shows equal or unequal parts. If the parts are equal, label one of the parts using a unit fraction. So let's look at number 2. Are each of the parts equal? Look at them. Do they look equal to you? Yes, they are equal. They're all exactly the same. They are equal. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the word equal, E-Q-U-A-L, and then we're going to write a fraction. So first we'll put the numerator. We're going to put 1, because we're going to talk about 1 unit, and then we're going to count how many units it's divided into, how many equal parts. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 6. That's how I have to write it because I'm typing it. You will write it the traditional way you write a fraction. Let's look at number 3. Let's look at our parts here. Here's this, here, here, here. Oh, look at this. Look at this part. Do these parts look equal to you? No, they are unequal. So what we're going to do is we're going to type or write unequal. So we cannot write a fraction for this because they are not equal parts. Okay? Now let's look at number 4. It says draw a rectangle that is divided into fourths. Then write the fraction that represents 1 equal part. So I'm going to get my pen and I am going to draw a fraction. Oh, went too far there. Sorry, boys and girls. Oh, gotta go back. Gotta go back to my page. So I'm going to draw a fraction. that is going to be, I'm going to divide it into fourths. So we want it to be, but we want it here in our paper. So we're going to divide our fraction into fourths. So there we go. So I'm going to make a rectangle, and I'm going to divide it into fourths, so they all have to be the same size. So let's start drawing. Okay. Oh, I think, you know what, I think I'm going to make, I think that might be a little bit too big. I think I'm going to erase that one there. I don't want to make it quite so big. I got to think about my sizing here. And then you got to make sure you make it the same size. And then I'm going to put a line right there down the middle. Put a line here. Okay, there we go. So now it is exactly the same, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I have the same number of squares in each quadrant of it, or each part of it. And then I have to do a fraction for it. And I'm going to write my fraction. I don't need to type it. And so it is 1/4. There we go. 1/4 is my fraction. That represents 1 equal part of my rectangle. Okay, now here's what I'm going to have you do. I am going to have you do the rest of the page yourself, and then you could check it in the Check My Math in your Google Classroom. So good luck. I know you're going to do great.